The Wednesday, September 26th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Second item on our agenda is the hearing of residents. Tiffany tells me we have none, so we'll move on to item number 3, presentation, SCUC-ISD District Demographics and Facility Planning presentation presented by Mr. Wayne Pruski.
Good evening. I'm Wayne Pruski, Chief Operations Officer for SCUC-ISD. Happily here for the past 24 years in the district. Also a happy member of the city of Schertz. Been here since 1999. In a little while, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Francisco Perez, Director of of Transportation and Demographics for the district, and he can he'll be the one presenting here for the second quarter update, as you see starting up in here, and then I'll close it with our facility master plan, the multicolored sheet that we gave you there before the meeting started. Just a few district facts of where we are. The concept for tonight is to kind of give just an update of where we are, who we are, where we're headed, and information that we have available to us. I don't have these made yet. It's a work in progress, and we should have them up on our website. These are our district facts. We're looking this year. Last year, we had a projection of over 15,600 students, and this year is 15,721. So we're still growing. We're not growing at the clip we were in the years past of the 500-600 students per year, but we still are growing. And then just some facts here about our budget. Our budget growing from $153 million to $158 million, this current budget. And with our tax rates for the INS at $1.04, and for our maintenance and operations at $1.04, and our INS at 45 cents, for a total of $1.49. Going there, so we're right up against that $1.50 cap. Y'all might have heard some news a while back about the district looking at going for a tax ratification election. That has been put on hold. We're evaluating some trend data and some current and future values before bringing that back up. The INS on the bonding side, we could go up to 50 cents. We're trying to hold at the 45 cents and using that as a buffer. We've mentioned that to our district stakeholders and voters that the 45 cents is our pause there, and trying to keep all the bonding programs within that 45 cents. That could be a challenge in the years to come as we grow and with our current finances there. But SCUC, forgive me because it's like 2 font here, so I'm having to put this pretty close up into here. Just an idea here on with our students. We graduated over 1,100 students last year, and of those students, we had over 40. Well, this says 40 billion, but I think that's wrong. $40 million in scholarship funds earned by our students. With our focus this year, with our new strategic plan, we're looking to inspire, innovate, and excel in every student, and the traits of a graduate to be college and or career and or military ready. Not every student will go to college, we know that, but we want them ready for the workforce that's out there, whether that's in the sectors available to them as well as into the military side. So just in general, I think you're going to hear some interesting information on our demographic update here, and then I can close it with the facility master plan. I appreciate the time and the invitation to come speak with you, and I'm going to turn this over now to Mr. Perez to walk you through the demographics of the district.
Good evening. Thank you again for having us here. My name is Francisco Perez. I'm the Director of Transportation and Demographic Services for the school district. So what we're going to look at tonight is actually a demographer report that we get every quarter. Okay, so this is the last one we have, and so we'll go through here in a second. What you're going to see today is not the full report. I kind of narrowed down to what's going on in Schertz. If you want to see the full report, you can actually go to our website, and that would include some more information regarding the area and the region, so San Antonio and the state of Texas. So you do have a handout, and so the first thing that you see on that handout is the housing activity maps. This is what you have today, right there in front of you. And so if I can maybe just orient yourself a little bit, hopefully you can see Randolph Air Force Base. You can see, hopefully they're 35 up north. And then I-10 down on the south, okay? And you can also see added the labels there, FM 3009, to kind of give you an idea what some of the areas that we're talking about. Tonight you're going to hear about, of course, the northern part of the district, what you see going on up in Cypress Point, Homestead area, and then, of course, down south, 1518 towards I-10, okay? So in general, what we see, the overall population of the district is estimated to be over 77,000 folks, which is a 3.7 increase year to year. Of course, you look at the households as well. You look at the increase and what we've seen from year to year. Looking over at 2023, you can see how we're projected out to be over 30,000 in the school district. In the greater San Antonio area, looking at the home starts, closings, and lots delivery, and you've seen, main thing we look at here is the increment year to year. And so you see a plus 6.3% for starts and plus 5.8% for closings. The pre-owned home market, something that we look at here. Of course, we look at what is what's going on in the San Antonio area, and then also here in the district. And the median resale price in the district, it's a $229,000, which is in line with the greater San Antonio area, and you can see the increase year to year, plus 4.6 for the district, plus 5.9 for the San Antonio area. New home construction here within the district, we track the closings and starts, and you can kind of see how it fluctuates up and down. But as we look at the trend, of course, we look at, in this case, in that quarter, in the second quarter, we saw the most starts in a single quarter since 2015, or the fourth quarter of 2015, and most closings in a single quarter since 2016, so the third quarter of 2016. So this is just another way to look at similar data. Here more doing a comparison year to year. And if you look at just annual start 748 and annual closing 689, as Wayne was mentioned last year, we did see kind of a little bit of a flat line here in the district. But as you see here in a little bit, we're starting to see how the lot inventory is starting to increase. So we were expecting a little bit of a rebound coming up in the upcoming years. Where do we rank in the San Antonio area? We rank 5th, which is right where we have been. We've been up as far as number 3 in the area, and right now we're currently 5th. By city, 48% of the new home closings and the activity here in the city of Schertz, 44% Cibolo, and 6.4% Selma. Since 2012, this is the city of Schertz actually surpassed Cibolo as far as activity for the first time. And now we're starting to see a little bit of activity down 1518 towards I-10 with the St. Hedwig area. Subdivisions, you may recognize some of these subdivisions, of course, here in the city of Schertz. Just briefly, of course, the Crossvine is one that it's very active for us. And of course, you know, as we see more houses, of course, we see more students. The Crossvine, Ryan Valley, Cypress Point, again, some of the in the city of Schertz, and the other ones, of course, down in Cibolo and along the 1103 corridor. By elementary zones, Cibolo Valley has been at the top at least the last 2 or 3 years that I can think of. But now we're starting to see Rose Garden pick up. And now we've seen where it's actually leading the district in 215 starts in that quarter, or year to year, I'm sorry. By intermediates, Slaughter has been at that level for the most part, and that's really in relation to all the activity that we've seen down, again, up in the 1103 area. By junior high and high school, there you see Dobie and Steele High School at 62%, and Corbett and Clements at 38%. Generally speaking, or as far as home occupancy, since 2013, we've split the home occupancy 61% Dobie and Steele area and 39% Corbett and Clements. Now, we also look at the median new home price, because something that we're starting to see also as the median home price goes up, that tends to slow down that particular area, and again, in turn, slows down the number of students that we see at our schools. And so, historically, as you see on the chart, that median home price has been going up, where now we sit in, for the district at $288,000, and then there's a breakdown by cities. So what's in the future, right? So what's next? We're tracking the new home lot inventory. Some of the subdivisions that we're seeing that were delivered in the second quarter. Something that we track as well, of course, is the vacant developed lots, and what do we have in supply for the future. So you see the ones that we're delivering this quarter. And then we look at, okay, so we have close to 1,500 vacant developed lots, and that's a 23.6 month supply. And then planned future lots, close to 8,000 as of the second quarter of 2018. And here's the chart that tells the story, right? And earlier we're talking about how last year we kind of saw a little bit of a flat line, and now we started to see a pickup, and so this tells you the number of lots that are underdeveloped, and right now we're at 1,500, which is for us a record high for the district. So where are they? Where are those lots underdeveloped? And you see the breakdown there by city. Of course, the Homestead, the big chunk there up north of the northern part of the district along 35. Ryan Valley over there at 1518. Crossvine as well along that 1518. And then you see some of the other ones down in St. Hedwig towards 1518 and I-10. Some of the aerial photos in some of the areas in the district. That's Cypress Point, again, northern part of the district along 35. Eckert Road is actually the district boundary. The northern part of that is Comal ISD. South is us. Homestead in that area as well. Saratoga close to that 1103 corridor by Dean Road. Misty Woods and Vines Hill Farms right down the street from here. Buffalo Crossing, again, along that 1103 corridor. Red River Ranch is another new area that we're tracking. That's on 78 across Main Street there in Cibolo. Rhine Valley, behind Corbett. The Crossvine, there along 1518. Haley's Cove, another area. Again, Hunter's Way. This is over there in St. Hedwig on 1518 across I-10. Asher Place in that same location out in that area. Heather's Place. And again, these are along 1518. And these are maybe 8 or 9-month-old pictures. So these are, if you go down that road now, you see quite a bit of change. Venado Crossing, this is on 78 north towards Marion. It's a new area as well. This is the new home lot inventory by attendance zone, so we track it by attendance because that's kind of how we look at future projections. And, you can kind of see the big numbers, right? Circle, you see Rose Garden, 3,000 future lots in that area. And now we have the apartment market as well. We do track those. 934 future apartment units are approved and moving forward as of the summer of 2018. And there's 6 in there. This is just looking at the home occupancy forecast. And we're poised to average 812 new home occupancies per year through 2025. Okay? And you have this on your packet, which is our projections. And so this year we use the 15,721, which is actually right now we're tracking because of, again, the last few years we saw a little bit of a flat line on the growth. We use the low growth projection. So we're using the green line, which follows along the low growth. The other one, it's actually the moderate growth. So in the district, we've been both. We have been in the low and then in the moderate as well. Currently, we're about 25, 26 students off this projection. So, and we still have a few weeks to hit our snapshot. And so it looks like we're going to hit this projection. There's the summary page. That's what you should have it with you as well. And it just kind of summarizes what we went over. Also on the back, you have, so, we use all this data really to get to this, which is our student enrollment projections by campus, and so we can know how many teachers we're going to need, bus drivers, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Any questions on the demographer report? Thank you.
I do have one. Can you back up to the apartment slide? That one. Okay, thank you.
So, as Mr. Perez went through, we have all this information and data that come forward, and then it's like, okay, now what? What do we do with it? And quite frankly, it's a challenge with our tax rate and with the challenges that lie or in the constraints that we have there. I believe everyone has the multicolored chart there, and we refer to this as our facility master plan. And I'd like to orient you to this real quick, and then this kind of shows the roadmap of using the data that you heard from the demographer from Mr. Perez as well. But the information then is transmitted into this facility master plan. And if we could build our way out of this so really quickly, we would. However, we have the constraints of the tax rate and costs and pushing that onto our taxpayers. So the first thing I wanted to show you or to walk through is at the top of you can see the years. These are the school years going across. And then the green bars going down, those are bond programs. So the 2016 bond, that's the far left green bar that's going vertical, up and down. And then the next proposed bond is in 2020. There's conversations now with taking into student data as well as financial data that may be pushed to 2021, depending on financial or the finances available to the district as well as do the numbers support. Going down then on the left-hand side, those are by grade levels as well as department or projects. So as you can see, like on the first row, you have the elementary replacement of Rose Garden. That was a 2016. We started it. It opened. It's there. It's done. So moving on down, you can see we don't have anything in the last bond for the intermediate, junior high, or high school new. However, you can see that we have Clemens at $72 million, and I'm sure we're all aware of the work going on at Clemens High School. Including yours truly here, till spring of 2020, the projected total finish out of that project. So this lines down to the bottom table there where the data is for the student projections. And in working with Mr. Perez and our demographer, we forecast out the student data by grade level. You can see elementary enrollment, intermediate enrollment, junior high enrollment, and high school enrollment. And as a reminder, in those intermediates, those are the 5, 6 grade levels, and then 7, 8 for junior high. And then with Allison Steele, and you can see our total enrollment there highlighted in yellow, projected out. So we are now about to cut off that 17-18 year and look at the 18-19 with the 15-7-21. And just cutting to the chase, a lot of questions that come out of this with our community advisory committee as well as the general population of the district is, where's the third high school? Why can't we just do a third high school? Well, we could, but that, if you're looking at it, the projected amount for that high school, if you go to the high school line, which is the 4th row down, we're projecting that if we were to open bids in 2020, we're looking at about $179 million if we follow the building standards that we have now. So, and those are the standards up above in gray. So for a high school, we're looking at 2,300 to 2,900. And each year after that, that's where the 186. If we wait a year, that's the projection of the cost of it through inflation and so on. But we look at it, and if you open that high school in the maroon in 2025, and we look at our high school enrollment, we're close to 6,000 students. But really, the existing high schools now, and this is where the challenge comes in, the existing high schools now could hold up to that 3,000 per. So then we have to ask ourselves, and this is where we go through with our committees and with staff, is do we need that high school at that year, or does that get pushed? And the same thing applies to the elementaries. We look at it through the elementary. So this is our roadmap that we have. The date up at the top right, the April 23rd, that is the last formal revision. There are other revisions that have gone through with this as well, but not to the formal amount. So this is all, and you can see it in red. It's a draft document. Always has and always will be, because we get the quarterly updates. We look and see what's happening. And you saw the green bar graph with the number of lots that are out there. It's the highest ever. And for us, we liken that to a springboard of a pool. It's like we just loaded it. Now we're waiting for the takeoff and to kind of see what transpires there. Looking at this and using the housing projections and the data from the realtors, we try to get as best grasp as we can about what's going on with the district and what's needed. So cutting to the chase then, so this last bond was $137 million. And that was for Rose Garden, for the renovations to Clemens, technology, infrastructure. No land was included. Those gray boxes is what I'm reading off right now. Transportation and HVAC. So now moving forward, these are now what's under consideration going forward here in the next couple quarters, if not year, to determine if that green bar in 2020 needs to go to 2021. Or if it stays where it is, do we need all of those that are listed in those as projects? This is a needs-based bond. There's not a lot of fluff in them. And I know these numbers are huge, and we feel them too. So they're very scrutinized throughout the process. Some of these, and that middle section there is not solidified in any shape or form. These were things that were at the last true revision for those bonds, and now we're about to start going through that process as well. So you can look in there, and then I just want to draw attention to the future one. If we were to do the May 2020 as called, it's about $292 million. These are forecasted numbers. And on the far right side there, you can see the duration for school buildings. So when we talk about the duration and just in perspective of building a high school, we're looking at approximately 54 months from the word go to the word open. It takes a while from design to site development and then the building of that high school. The district is also looking at modeling a phase-in type plan, whereas it's not a big 2,500 high school. It could be as easy as a 17, 1,800, and then you have the add-on process to that as well. The cost benefit of that is you can add on if needed. One of the challenges of that, if you wait, the cost could be even higher, just depending on, one of those things is construction costs have not gone down in my career. So that is the facility master plan, the demographer report presented by Mr. Perez, and then the overall from where we are. The challenge for the district now is watching the growth patterns in the upper northeast of our district, that 35 corridor, as well as the south. You heard St. Hedwig a couple times. I know that's not the city of Schertz, but once we bounce over I-10, that is, along the Rose Garden area. You saw one of the higher areas now for elementary. Our big density was around Cibolo Valley Elementary in the city of Cibolo. Now it looks like it's shifting to Rose Garden area on 1518, the housing and the number of kids that are going there. So we're watching those. We watch these. We get the quarterly updates through our demographer and apply that with staff. Pretty much we look at these rigorously even before the final comes out. Last but not least, the district goes through a formal process every December at its combined community advisory committee meetings. These are open meetings, and what we have is a demographer full report on the third quarter, so it's the final numbers, so to speak, for that calendar year. We then also present the changes and how that updates this facility master plan moving forward, and it gives us a broader, or a more, not broader, but a more defined plan for the upcoming year so that where we can follow. And we use this to help us with our projections at campuses, where the portables go, where the teachers go, and if a need for rezoning is there as well. I'll stop there. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to entertain and try to answer.
Excuse me. I'd just like to say thank you. I learned something this evening. I didn't realize the school district boundaries went that far south of Interstate 10. So,
Yeah.
and I've been here almost 30 years. So thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
That's actually all the way down to Abbott Road, correct?
Yes, yeah. On to Abbott.
Anybody else? All right, well, Wayne, thank you for coming out. I asked staff to see about having you guys come out a couple months ago. It's been a couple of years since y'all been here. We have a number of new commissioners, and I thought it'd be good for you guys to come and introduce yourselves and to give us a little bit different perspective on the impacts of the growth and the subdivisions that we see up here. So thank you for coming out.
And we'd be happy at any other time as well. Let us know. We'll be happy, both, to come give an update as well as to what we're doing here. So as partners and collaborators, I think it's only fair to share that knowledge and the understanding of what's going on within our systems. And this is one of those. I mean, we see it every day.
And that goes both ways. If there's something from the district side that you feel is important to bring to us, then feel free to ask to come see us.
Appreciate that. We sure will.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all. Have a good evening. I'll let you do it.
All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda, item 4, consent agenda, minutes for the August 22nd, 2018 meeting and the September 12th, 2018 regular meeting. Commissioners, any comments, modifications?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull the minutes off the consent agenda for discussion.
One or both?
Well, how are they listed? The one I have in particular is the minutes for September 12th.
Okay, then.
I would kind of like to talk about both of them.
Okay, and then let's go ahead and pull both of them off of there, and let's begin with the August 22nd, 2018 minutes.
My question about that one, and I thought it was just, I sit here and take notes, and I thought maybe I missed something, but I did go back and look at the video, and the minutes are absolutely correct. We took a vote on these minutes at the last meeting, but there was never a motion made to do so. So
Well, that was on the,
is
that's
that why they're back on the agenda tonight?
that is the September 12th minutes. We're on the August 22nd minutes right now.
Okay. What we have in our packet tonight, Mr. Chairman, are the minutes from August 22nd and the minutes from September 12th. That was going to be one of the things I pointed out on the minutes for the September 12th meeting. Item A, minutes for the August 22nd regular meeting, not the August 8th meeting. That's
Okay, I see what you're referring to there. And staff brought that to my attention as well. That as we went through there, we had one of the items pulled off of the consent agenda, and we discussed it. And then I missed calling for a motion on that, and so instead I just called for a vote, and we did vote on it. Approved it 5-1. Staff has told me that legally doesn't cause any problems, but we just wanted to make sure that it was documented properly in the minutes, and so that's how we have it written on here.
okay, and those are the minutes of the August 22nd meeting, correct?
That's correct. There's an error in the minutes. It should say that they are the August 22nd minutes, not the August 8th minutes. They were correctly listed on the agenda, and that was the issue, that there was not an actual motion and second to approve or deny the minutes, which is why the the August 22nd minutes are relisted on this meeting agenda.
Thank you. So that answers that. That was my question about the August 22nd. You want to continue and talk about September 12th, or?
Please go ahead.
All right. The only item, first of all, I think I'd like to compliment staff. I think in reading through their recap of that very detailed and long discussions on the zoning action, they did a really good job of summarizing that here. However, as I pointed out, item A on those minutes are listed as the August 8th minutes rather than the August 22nd. So all I'm asking for is a correction of that.
We can correct that.
Okay, you have that? Okay. All right, does anyone have anything else? All right, then look for a motion for approval of the minutes of the two meetings.
If we can, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the minutes of the August 22nd meeting and the minutes of the September 12th meeting as corrected.
All right, have a motion by Commissioner Outlaw. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Greenwald. Any other comments? All right, call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 6 ayes, no nays. All right, next up, item 5, items for individual consideration. 5A, PC 2018-027, consider an act upon a request for approval of a preliminary plat for Unit 7 of the Homestead subdivision, an approximately 27-acre tract of land generally located approximately 380 feet east of the intersection of Crockett Cove and Winkler Trail, Guadalupe County, Texas. Emily.
Good evening, Commissioners. So just to get your bearings, the subject property, Unit 7, is outlined here in green. So this is Homestead Parkway, potential Schwab Road, the right-of-way for Schwab Road, and then 35 would be up towards this area. They are proposing to preliminary plat 27 acres into 73 single-family residential lots with the minimum lot size of 6,600 square feet, as allowed by the Homestead PDD. The subject property is currently undeveloped. So just to get your bearings again, this is the portion of Homestead Parkway that they're proposing to preliminary plat, and then the extension of roadways into Unit 7, which is this area here. I want to show you one other picture first before we start going into more depth. I wanted to show you how this kind of relates to the rest of Homestead. So this is Unit 1A, has already been recorded. Unit 2, essentially all of these in the colors besides the yellow have already been recorded with the county and are essentially ready to be developed. The two items for Homestead that you're hearing tonight, the first one is this Unit 7, and then the one after this is Unit 10, this area here. I just wanted to show you how it kind of relates to the rest of Homestead. So they are required by Article 14 to have 2 points of access to existing roadways. One of those is through the existing portion of Homestead Parkway, and then the other is through Archer Pass, which will actually be completed with Unit 3B. The site does not contain protected or heritage trees. There is no parkland being dedicated with this unit. They did enter into an agreement for the larger parkland dedication that was done with the full Homestead development. It will be serviced by a City of Schertz 8-inch water line, an 8-inch sewer line, GVC, AT&T, Spectrum, and CenterPoint Energy. The city engineer has reviewed and approved a preliminary drainage report for this unit. Sidewalks will be constructed in accordance with our standards on both sides of the roadway. The preliminary plat is consistent with all requirements of the Homestead PDD and the Unified Development Code, and we are making a recommendation of approval, and Mr. Kevin Fleming is here with Homestead if there's any questions.
All right, Commissioners.
Thank you for the overview map. You worked with me before, and you know that it helps a whole lot. Could you put that back up for me real quick? Unit 3B, I see the blue one, but where Archer Pass is coming out is not highlighted. That's 3B?
Correct. So it has been approved, it just has not been recorded as of today.
So that unit's already been platted.
Correct.
Okay.
And essentially before Unit 7, since it is taking access into Unit 3B, that plat will have to be recorded before Unit 7 gets done.
Which means the roadway has to be done.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Are we looking just at the yellow, or?
So this unit is just this area here, the red star.
Okay, thanks. Will the developer be building their portion of Schwab Road to its final design standard?
In this portion, yes, sir, in Unit 7.
So it'll be the complete width of Schwab Road?
Yes, so this plat does dedicate this whole portion of Schwab within Unit 7.
Just curious on the street naming conventions. On Sherman Square, why is the cul-de-sac at the very top left? Why is that changed from, why is it not Sherman Square as well? Why is it Terrell Point? Just curious if you know. Do you know?
I'm not entirely positive. So per Lisa, she recollects that if it's at a 90-degree angle that the street name has to change. And that clearly is something I need to look at better. So
A 90-degree angle.
essentially, since it's turning, going from Sherman Square and then makes that turn, this would need to be addressed differently onto Terrell Point.
Not 100% sure that's why they did it, but I know that we do have a requirement that when the street turns, it has to be a different name.
Well, then look at Ellis Way. Ellis Way meanders all the way down from the left to the right.
I might offer an observation, if I may. Part of the, I'm not sure why, I understand the 90-degree turn rule. But in terms of Sherman Square there, the little cul-de-sac on the end, you know, that's kind of a toss-up. The difference, I think, Commissioner Broad, about Ellis Way is it's in order to invoke the rule, there would be at least 3 different street names there. It's pretty much a continuous street from one end, even though it makes that Z shape to the other knuckle there off of is that Midland? But as an as a former emergency responder, it would make things much easier for me for that to be one continuous street and one continuous set of street addresses, rather than when it takes that 90-degree turn to the north for those half a dozen houses now all of a sudden to be a different block. And so I'm just suggesting that from an emergency responder point of view, I think it would be much better to have that one street with one continuous set of street addresses. It would just simplify things. Where the rule came from, where we really started to get looking at things, is if you look up in Carolina Crossing North, and what's the street? But you come into the intersection, you come into the subdivision, and the street, Marietta, and it goes in 2 directions. It goes to the right and it goes to the left. And then you go to the left and you hit a 90-degree turn. Now all of a sudden it's paralleling Schertz Parkway and it's still Marietta Lane. But it causes confusion when you start assigning street addresses, because other streets that are now parallel to Marietta Lane have different block numbers. And I love to pick on that one because the street addresses for an emergency responder in Carolina North are a nightmare, okay? They don't, I can stand on one corner up there and I can look at the 3200 block, and 3200's here and 3300's over here, and they go down that way and up this way, and so it's, anyway, I just would offer that perspective about Ellis.
What Richard pointed out is Ellis Way has got 3 90-degree turns, the same street name. Which rule are we using?
Sure. So Commissioner Outlaw had the correct concept, which is we have a prohibition that you can have a street have 2 intersections, either upon itself or with another street, because a lot of times when they're dispatching emergency services, it's to the intersection of or things like that. And so if you have 2 intersections of the same streets in different locations, it causes a mix-up. As to why it is Terrell Point, I'm not sure. We can ask the developer if they have an answer for that, or if their engineer has a rationale for it. But the reason that Ellis Way is different is because otherwise I would have Sherman Square and, in theory, Ellis Way potentially touching in 2 different points. One at the intersection here, and then in theory either an intersection here or here. And that's why as it bends here, it changes to Midland Drive, and this street here is Midland Drive. and then it changes again. And the rationale for that, again, is so that I don't have two intersection points at the same spot. Yep. So if the commission, the developer doesn't have an item for Terrell Point, it may have been an item that the project engineer put on there. So if the commission would like, we can have that changed to Sherman Square for that for the cul-de-sac.
To clarify, Mr. Outlaw, would it make it clearer if that was continuous Sherman Square and not Terrell Point? Would that make it better or indifferent for EMS, fire? Does it matter?
Kind of a toss-up, because you come in, assuming you come in there on Ellis Way, now you're trying to decide, do I turn right on Sherman Drive or do I turn left onto Terrell Point? I mean, it would really make things easier, in my mind. Terrell Point's this way, Ellis Way is this way, but way is.
Yeah, I would agree with it. If it sounded like I was objecting, I'm not. I was just asking. So.
Nope, absolutely.
It makes sense with the last comment from Mr. Outlaw. Thank you.
All right, Dan, are there any other questions, comments? All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve case number PC 2018-027, Homestead Subdivision Unit 7 preliminary plat as presented.
All right, have a motion by Commissioner Bro. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, and second by Commissioner. All right, and then, any other comments or questions? All right, then, we'll call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. 6 ayes, no nays, motion passes. All right, item 5B on the agenda, PC 2018-028, consider and act upon a request for approval of a preliminary plat for Unit 10 of the Homestead subdivision, an approximate 14-acre tract of land generally located approximately 1,100 feet east of the intersection of Crockett Cove and Winkler Trail, Guadalupe County, Texas.
So just to get your bearings again, this is Homestead Parkway. This is the subject property here in the green, and then this is the portion of Unit 7 that y'all just approved. So I want to do kind of the same thing that we did with Unit 7. So you're looking at this darker yellow here. This is the proposed Unit 10 of the Homestead subdivision. It is approximately 14 acres of land. They are proposing 55 single-family residential lots with a minimum lot size of 6,600 square feet, which is allowed per the Homestead PDD. Subject property is currently undeveloped. Very similar to Unit 7, they are required to have 2 points of access onto existing streets. For this portion of Unit 10, they will have one access point off of Ellis Way and one off of Midland Drive, which will be constructed with Unit 7. So kind of the same way that Unit 7 stipulates on 3B being recorded, Unit 10 will stipulate on Unit 7 being recorded prior to this unit. They have submitted an application stating that there are no protected or heritage trees on the site. There is no parkland dedication due to the original parkland dedication for the whole Homestead subdivision. It will be serviced with an 8-inch water and an 8-inch sewer line through the city of Schertz, GVC, AT&T, Spectrum, and CenterPoint Energy. The city engineer has reviewed a preliminary drainage report and has approved that. Sidewalks will be constructed adjacent to all of the streets, and the preliminary plat is consistent with all the UDC requirements and the homestead zoning with the PDD, and staff is making a recommendation of approval.
All right, commissioners, comments, questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just feel the need to clarify that my comments about Ellis Way and it being, in my opinion, simpler for emergency responders to have it one street name, even though it makes a couple of 90-degree turns. Those comments are based on a continuous street addressing from the beginning there at Sherman Way all the way through to the end where it meets Midland Drive. And I'm a little concerned that when it makes that 90-degree turn to the north, someone might want to start using different, use the north-south grid instead of the east-west grid. And my comments about keeping it easy, keeping it simple for first responders would be a continuous line even through that Z section. Okay. So we start with number 1 or whatever and end up with number 99. We don't switch up in between. That makes sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Ideally, we could have a nice grid pattern for our streets. Went to college up in Lubbock, and we had all the streets that ran east-west were 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, as far down as it went. And when the streets that ran north and south were Avenue A, B, C, and then it was Albany, Boston, Chicago, and on, and made it real easy when I worked for a while as a pizza delivery driver. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve PC 2018-028 preliminary plat for Homestead Subdivision Unit 10.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Outlaw. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Ray. All right, any other comments? Call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. 6 ayes, no nays, motion passes. All right, item 5C, WA 2018-006, consider and act upon a request for approval of a waiver regarding on-site sewage facilities for the Cantu Ranch subdivision, an approximately 39-acre tract of land located approximately 2,000 feet east of the intersection of Ware Seguin Road and Bainig Drive, more specifically described as 11330 Ware Seguin Road, City of Schertz, Bexar County.
To get your bearings again, this is Ware Seguin and Ware Seguin, and the subject property is located in the green identified line. It is approximately 39 acres and is being proposed to be split into 4 residential lots. Currently, there is 1 single-family residential home that currently uses an on-site sewage facility, and there's also multiple barns on the property. The applicant is seeking approval of a waiver to UDC Section 2115-3B in order to install privately owned on-site sewage facilities on each of the proposed 4 lots. The request for this on-site sewage facilities is due to the lengthy distance to the nearest sewer line. The project engineer has provided that the approximate distance to the nearest sewer connection is 3,800 feet to the west near the intersection of Bainig Drive and Lower Heights. So once again, the proposed Cantu Ranch subdivision is outlined by the dark black line, Ware Seguin, and they're stating that the closest sewer connection would be down Ware Seguin, make the bend to Bainig Drive, and then into this existing sanitary sewer manhole, which they've identified here. It's an approximate extension of 1,995 feet west, and then an additional 790 feet. The engineering department did review this waiver request and are offering a recommendation of approval based on the lengthy distance to the nearest connection and the similar waivers that have been done in this area of Schertz. This waiver has also been reviewed by the Public Works and the Planning Division with no objections, and staff is making a recommendation of approval, and we do have the property owners and their engineer here in case there's any questions.
All right, commissioners. right, any other comments, questions? If not, I'll call for a motion.
Chairman, make a motion, we approve the waiver 218-006 for the on-site sewage facility with PC 2017-025.
The PC 2017-025 that you mentioned is for the preliminary plat case. This would be for associated with the motion that would be for WA 2018-006.
Yeah.
Okay. So noted. All right, have a motion for approval by Mr. Greenwald.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brode. Any other comments or questions? All right, call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. 6 ayes, no nays, motion passes. Next item on the agenda, 5D, PC 2017-025, consider and act upon a request for approval of a preliminary plat of the Cantu Grant subdivision, an approximately 39-acre tract of land located approximately 2,000 feet east of the intersection of Warsaguin Road and Bainig Drive, more specifically described as 11330 Warsaguin Road, City of Schertz, Bexar County. Emily.
To get your bearings again, Bainig Drive, Warsaguin, and the subject property is outlined in green. They are proposing to develop the approximately 39 acres into 4 residential lots. The plat is on 2 sheets, making it a little difficult to see the whole project as one. So I put together a little colored exhibit here. Lot 1, outlined in orange, is 21.30 acres. Lot 2, outlined in blue, 1.5 acres. Lot 3 is the green, 13.02 acres, and Lot 4 is outlined here in yellow, 2.98 acres. All of the proposed lots do have frontage on Warsaguin Road. There was a tree affidavit submitted that the site does not contain protected or heritage trees. There is no parkland being dedicated, so a fee in lieu of $1,000 per dwelling unit will be required. The site is serviced through the City of Schertz for water. It's in the CCMA and SARA CCNs for sewer, CPS, AT&T, and Spectrum. Y'all did just approve the ability to use an OSSF system for each individual lot. Each lot would have its own system that would be reviewed and approved through Bexar County. The portion of Warsaguin that the lot's front is identified on our master thoroughfare plan as a residential collector with a 70 feet of right-of-way desired. The current portion adjacent to these lots is only 60 feet, and there is a 5-foot dedication along the frontage of the lots in order to reach their half of the desired 70 feet. The preliminary plat is consistent and applicable and meets all of the Unified Development Code requirements, and staff is making a recommendation of approval.
All right, commissioners.
Emily, this is properties generally, this is between the 2 runway ACOs areas, correct? It's not in either one of them.
Correct.
Correct.
And we do maintain the easement for the water tower that's in the middle there.
Yes, so there is a 25-foot ingress-egress easement that was previously recorded in order for city staff to get to the City of Schertz water tower.
Is there also a well on that, or is it just a tank? Just a tank.
I have a question just for my educational purposes. Why do we do the on-site sewage before we do the plotting?
Of course. Essentially, if y'all were to deny the request to not connect to sanitary sewer, the plat would no longer meet all of our regulations because they do not account for sanitary sewer wastewater on the plat. Yeah.
All right, any other comments or questions? All right, look for a motion.
I motion that we approve the PC 2017-025 Cantu Ranch subdivision.
All right, I have a motion for approval by Commissioner Ray. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Greenwald. Any other comments? All right, call for a vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. 6 ayes, no nays, motion passes. Next item on the agenda, item 6, requests and announcements. Request by commissioners to place items on a future planning and zoning agenda. Mr. Bro.
I have one that I'd like to discuss and possibly take action for, would be on our UDC, Article 8, Section 21.8.2N, dealing with automatic teller machines.
All right, does anybody have anything else?
Just for clarification, is that a requested agenda item for a workshop or?
For review, discussion, and if necessary, to take action to possibly rescind.
Okay.
However you want to construct that.
All right, anybody have anything else? All right. Announcements by commissioners? None. All right, announcements by city staff.
Staff doesn't have any announcements this evening.
All right. Just real quick for everybody, did morning staff meeting with the budget approved that we will be issued in the near future some iPads and going digital with our agenda packets and some training coming along with that. So something new and different. And with that, if nobody has anything else, we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:03.